And of course, for Tuesday evening, scattered thunderstorms in the evening, cloudy skies overnight, lows around 64 degrees. And that's your weather from SNS on. And it's Monday, 09/13/2021.
There are two types of traffic control devices that require drivers to come to a complete stop before proceeding forward: red lights and stop signs. According to statistics published by the National Highways Traffic Safety Administration, an average of 2 people die each day in the United States in automobile collisions caused by someone running a red light, and over 120,000 are injured. 45% of all crashes occur at intersections where someone often has a stop sign or red light and fails to stop and or yield the right of way after stopping. When the driver fails to stop for a traffic control device, the results can be deadly, particularly if they are rushing to beat a yellow light. Failing to stop constitutes negligence on the part of the vehicle operator. The following has been brought to you by Griswold Health and Safety.
Local news, sports, and weather. SNSN.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Hey, Paul, how are you? How was your weekend?
Every day's a weekend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You don't have to do much of anything anymore, do you? Except maybe clean your gutters or mow your lawn or
Just about it.
play with your 20 cats.
No,
How many?
I don't know.
Come on, you must
Well,
have
I honestly
you
don't know.
must have some sort of count of how many cats that you
I
have.
don't know, maybe 12. I don't know.
Well,
I really don't know the number.
then that count has gone down.
It has gone down a couple.
It has gone down.
Yeah.
What happened?
Two had some medical issues and were put down, unfortunately, but that's what happened. So I don't think they're all getting up in age. So
Are you going to replace them?
no.
So if anybody doesn't know, Paul's wife runs Kitty Harbor in Griswold, which is a cat sanctuary for cats.
For cats. Yeah. Yep. So no replacements.
Nothing, huh? So when they all die off, that's it. They all go paws up and
That's it.
that's that.
Yeah.
You're not going to, your wife's not going to replace them with other
Nope.
cats?
Nope.
Come on.
No, she told me she's not going to do that. Well, how long can you do it?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. So it's all right.
I think it's remarkable how much work she puts into
a
that.
lot of work.
Trapping cats,
Yep. She's done that.
feeding them,
Feed them.
getting them fixed.
Oh yeah. Every week she takes some
Mhm.
feral or something to the vet to have it fixed. Yeah.
So when we lived in Canterbury, thank God I'm not anymore. When one of our cats actually left and went 2 doors down to Canterbury Cones, which is closed, by the way. They sold out. They're done. And we had no idea. Then we went over one day to get ice cream. We were walking the dogs. And who do we see? Well, we see Colonel just kind of sitting there. And the owners of Canterbury Cones said, "Oh, yeah. So you know, well, what they call him? Mau Mau or something like that, or Cry. Because all he did was cry. And I said, because he wasn't home. That's why he was crying for home. No, that's not it. And they said they took him to the vet. No, I said, well, he's already been to the vet. But they didn't know.
Yeah.
They had no idea.
Right.
So anyway, they sold, and then somebody had called Melissa and said, hey, we know where Colonel is. If you want to take him back. She said, sure. Well, Colonel came back, and you would think he was a feral cat. And it didn't take him long, like 5 days, and he's back to normal and buddies with the other cats. And
So he's walking around the house with
Yeah.
his nose up in the air.
no. Colonel's actually a really good cat.
Oh, there you go.
Colonel's a good cat.
Yeah.
Definitely a good cat. So anyway,
Oh, good.
so there's that.
Yeah.
So they put up on our subject for today is, how do you feel about cannabis establishments in the town of Griswold? Now, we know that cannabis has been voted legal for recreational use in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
as well as Massachusetts and everything. They want them tax dollars.
Yep.
So now that means that businesses can, get a license, or can apply for a license and go into different towns and open up locations.
Sure.
Now you can only open up one location per, I think it's like 50,000 residents or something like that.
Really?
So or 25. But anyway, Griswold will get one if somebody wanted to do that. Now it's serious stuff too. I mean, you've got to go
I'm sure
through a whole bunch of stuff, before you can even get it. Same thing with Plainfield or Norwich or any other town.
Yeah.
You have to go through. It's pretty stringent, as far as what you have to go through to get a license.
Yeah.
For to sell cannabis legally, in a retail establishment.
Right.
So, how do you feel, Paul? Personally, I'd like to know how the people that are watching and listening as well, how do they feel about a cannabis establishment in the town of Griswold or the borough of Jewett City?
Yeah. Personally, I don't really, it doesn't really bother me that they put one in town as long as it follows all the rules. I mean, if you're more concerned about people getting cannabis, if you don't have it here, they're going to go some other place to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of course, I don't have any young kids, so I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, that does my thing. But if you're a business owner and you want to put one in, fine. I don't have a problem with that.
See, I look at it. No, this is a personal view.
Yeah.
I look at it and say, okay, well, there's marijuana, and there's alcohol. As far as like
both. Yeah.
Yeah. How many bars and how many liquor stores are there?
Plenty. Yeah. I mean,
right.
We got one. I'm trying to think of the liquor stores. We got what, 1, 2, 3. Plus, we got grocery stores selling beer. I mean,
sure.
So there's a lot where you
right.
can buy alcohol. So, I mean, if you don't think marijuana is not being sold in this town, you're crazy. It's being sold.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's around.
Been being sold.
Oh, it's around here.
I told you before, the biggest stoner I ever knew was my mother.
Yeah, it's around here, whether you like it or not. Yeah.
Whether you know it or not, if you knew my mom back in the day, she was, at night she'd come home after work.
Yeah.
But she used it the same way people would use it today for like medicinal purposes to calm down, to kind of cure some anxiety.
Yeah.
My mother didn't she didn't like wake and bake, get up in the morning and say, hey, let's go. Some people do it, whatever, but that's not how she did it.
Yeah. I mean, as far as parents having it, they're going to have the same responsibility they have with liquor. If you have a liquor's probably locked up in a liquor cabinet. So kids
or not.
That's the other thing. So this is no different than, you're going to treat it the same way.
Yeah.
But I mean, if a business comes into town, they say, I want to open one up. You're going to tell them no. What do you think the legal? I mean, you think legally they could come back at the town and say, look, you're purchased against me because I want to open up a pot store.
Well, funny that you say that, because tonight there is a public hearing at Griswold High School in the Griswold High School auditorium. The Planning and Zoning Commission here in Griswold is running a meeting, and they're discussing a possible moratorium on cannabis establishments in the town of Griswold. So, in other words, they're trying to kind of stop it right now.
Right.
For, whatever they're going to present reasons and stuff like that tonight. So,
yeah. I mean, I can understand why a lot of the pride organization would be definitely against it.
Sure.
Because let's face it, it's a drug. But
is it alcohol?
It's no.
Alcohol's not a drug.
Well, it's not.
How many people down at Stonington Institute right now will tell you different?
Oh, it's habit forming.
Well, sure.
Same way with cigarettes.
Yeah, I'm not claiming that they're not.
Yeah, same thing.
So I mean,
I don't know. I mean, there are some people that I suppose it's Some people take it, they use it. Then some people take it, and they take it every day. So I don't know. But personally, I mean, it's a business. You knew it was coming. I mean, this is nothing that you haven't known that's been coming for how long?
No, I know.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I realize that. I just, but now that it is legal,
Yeah.
Now they want to
Stop.
I'm not saying that they're trying to stop it, but I don't know if they've gotten some feedback from residents that are against it, which they have their right to be against it or for it or whatever. And that's why they're having the public hearing tonight.
Yeah.
And it could stop. All right, folks. Whether you stop a marijuana distributor or retail establishment coming into Griswold, they're just going to go to the next town over that has one.
Blizzard will have one, or Plainfield will have one, or Canterbury will have. Someplace will have one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away. It hasn't gone away. It
It's
has
here.
never gone away.
Yeah.
And now I think we're, all right. I don't like to just get on my personal soapbox and talk my stuff on here, but it's not going away.
No.
You're not going to stop people. It's kind of like if you're 15 years old and you're smoking cigarettes and you don't want mom and dad to know what happens. It makes you want to do it a little bit more because you feel like you're getting away with something.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, boom, mom says, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. And I was like, really? And all of a sudden, it's not as important anymore. And that happened to me.
Yeah.
That happened to me. Yes, I did start up later on in life.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So like cigarettes, unfortunately, they are addictive. Yeah. Are people going to stop buying them? Why is there not a moratorium on that?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me.
Money.
Well, same thing with marijuana.
Money. Yeah. But marijuana is new. Cigarettes have been around for years. Just like alcohol, it's been around for years.
Okay. Well, so is marijuana. It's a plant.
Yeah.
Well, what? No, serious. I mean, what is the difference?
There isn't a difference.
Okay.
Yeah. Except now they can get the money out of it.
Okay. So why would they stop it? Or why would they attempt
Well, because I don't
to?
think the town is going to get any money out of it. They're just a normal business. From a town perspective,
Okay.
what are you going to collect? Just taxes on the business.
Sure.
They send the property or
It's the same
whatever.
thing they get from a liquor
Yeah,
store.
same thing. Yeah. Not going to be any difference.
So why would they stop it?
I would want to know. I mean, I would think that is it legal for them to stop it? Is it legal?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the
I don't
answer. I mean,
I would think
to that.
I would think that if somebody wanted to come in here and put in a, I mean, the first thing I think probably what's got to happen is probably got to be a zoning change, because there's probably nothing in the zoning rules that talks about marijuana.
well, let me,
Similar to- or will it fall under the same thing as a liquor store? I don't know.
let me bring something up here that will, maybe help somebody understand, maybe more so they can explain it to me. But I'm going to put something up on the screen here. So just bear with me for 1 minute here. Okay. So open the screen. You'll see that there's there's the notice from the public hearing for tonight. It starts at 6:00. And it's going to be
Kinda odd. It's at 6:00.
Well, actually, the public hearing is at 7.
Okay.
The regular meeting. Well, hold on. Public hearing at 6 p.m. Zoning text amendment. Applicant Town of Griswold Planning and Zoning Commission to hear and consider a temporary moratorium on cannabis establishments pursuant to Section 8-2 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Then at line number 4, public hearing at 7 p.m. Well, that's a different issue. So no, 6:00 is when this is there are two different issues that are. There's one with American Industries looking for a zoning map change.
So The 6 o'clock one is going to give people the opportunity to be either for or against before they make their decision.
Okay.
That's what it's going to be.
So now the thing is that it's a temporary. Well, a moratorium is temporary anyway.
Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that until they further study it?
Well, that's pretty much what a moratorium is,
Yeah.
and it's a temporary injunction, basically,
Well, you can't do
until
it
they can come up with more information to make a decision.
But you can't do it for another year anyway, right? You can't do it until next year.
What do you mean?
I thought that
Explain.
I thought they couldn't be an establishment set up until 2022.
Maybe that it'll stop people from filling out the paperwork.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought that you really couldn't have an establishment until a year. It was 2022, I thought. So why do we have a temporary moratorium if we can't do anything for a year anyway? Continue to study it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's to prevent somebody putting in a request. I don't know. I mean, you can already have one.
Mm-hmm. So Laura, one of our faves, says there are dry towns in the state of Connecticut. I would assume that marijuana would be treated the same way in that sense. So let's say that that's true. Well, there are dry towns.
Yeah.
So why a moratorium on cannabis establishments and not alcohol?
Yeah, we're certainly on a dry town. That's for sure.
This is going to be unpopular.
I wonder how many
But-
people are going to show.
know.
Unfortunately, it's at 6
I
o'clock.
don't know.
So if it's loaded with people against it, then guess what's going to happen?
So here's something that's unpopular. I come from a household where marijuana was just part of my mother's life.
Yeah.
It just was. She didn't, like I said, it was used to, and this is my exposure to it.
Yeah.
Everybody is different, right?
Yep.
My mother would use it to calm down and relax. She had she worked as a nurse's aide for 30 years. That is a ball-breaking job.
Mhm.
That is, I mean, you're lifting, you're cleaning,
Yep.
Patients up, residents up.
Yep.
In places that you'd never thought you'd have to, but you do.
Yeah.
And it's just a hard job. And my mother did that for 30 years.
Yeah.
So she had back pain.
Yeah.
And this right here actually went ahead and helped her.
Yeah.
To me, I was scared of it at first until she made me smoke it with her.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't really do much to me except made me want to eat chips. But and I don't do it today, but it made me understand what she was doing. I never saw my mother out of control. I never saw my mother lose her mind like if she was on some bender.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's my experience, personal experience with marijuana.
Yeah.
Others, of course, are going to vary.
Now, even though they're going to sell marijuana for recreational purposes, you're also going to be able to buy it for medical purposes. It's the same stuff.
Well, you can do that now.
Well, I know you can't.
you
but
can do
gotta-
that now.
What I'm saying is that this store or whatever they open up will not only do recreational, they're going to do medical because medical is the same stuff you use
Right.
for recreational. So, and think about it now. Who were the flower childs of the 60s?
You,
The seniors.
the scene.
I mean, how many seniors you think we have in this town that weren't part of the
Oh,
flower child
yeah.
smoking marijuana? And I wonder how many of them are actually using it for pain.
Dropping acid.
Well, I wonder. No, well, yeah.
Hey, Grandma. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, how many of
No,
them
I
attended
don't
Woodstock? I mean, come on.
Sure.
But they're probably using it now for pain.
Mhm.
So instead of going all the way down to Montford to go get it, you can get it right here in town. So, I don't know.
And the way the state's setting it up is that is it has to be like primo grade. You know, it can't be, you know, some guy named Fred from the street corner.
Yeah.
You know, saying, hey,
Yeah, I know. Well, let's
you
face
want
it.
to?
Well, what's going to happen is the guy from the street corner is the guy who's going to get the sale because it
Mhm.
isn't around here and available.
I don't know anybody ever in my life that, and this again personal. If we're judging marijuana versus alcohol,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that is in rehab
Because of marijuana.
because of marijuana. I do know people that are in rehab and have failed rehab
Because of alcohol.
because of alcohol.
Yeah.
I know people that have died because of alcohol consumption.
In the, I don't know how the theory is that if you start smoking marijuana, it leads to more stronger drugs. So
Okay, yeah.
I think that's one of the things I think that, Griswold Pride is probably afraid
Sure.
of, especially for some people. So
And they put out a lot of great information. You can check them out at griswoldpride.org or CERAC too. SERACCT .org.
but I think what will happen if they stop somebody, if a business wants to come into town, I think they're going to find themselves in a lawsuit.
The last time we had Senator Heather Summers here,
Yeah.
one of the reasons she voted no.
Yeah, I can understand why she voted no.
Do you know why?
Because of the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There weren't any provisions for kids,
correct.
in the bill.
Yeah, and the difference between the marijuana and alcohol is, unfortunately, a lot of these can be set up as food products.
Yeah, gummies and
All that, which the
edibles,
kids
yeah.
can mistakenly taken rather than pick up a bottle or a can
Exactly.
of beer. Right. So I think now the responsibility, I guess, falls back on the parent if they're the ones who are
Sure.
going to buy it.
Absolutely.
And there probably should be something in there. Hey, look, if your kid, has an issue with marijuana or something happens to them,
Keep it locked up.
you're responsible. Just like they have with the gun law. As you have
Sure.
kids in your house, you got to put it in a locked box.
Yeah.
Same
Keep
thing.
it locked up and
So it has to be
hidden.
locked up so kids can't get at
Right,
it. I mean,
exactly.
This it all comes down to responsibility of the person who has it in the house.
So maybe that's something that will be talked about tonight at planning and zoning is basically, what kind of provisions are there for kids? And like CERAC, for example, they're out of Norwich, but like I said, CERACCT.org. One of their big slogans is "It's 21 for a reason."
Yeah.
And one of the things that Miranda Mahoney talks about when she comes in here,
Yeah.
which is very valid, is that your brain's not developed yet.
Yeah.
Your brain's not developed yet until you get, I think she said, I'm sorry, Miranda, if I'm misquoting you, but I think she said 25.
Yeah.
I think she said 25 was the age.
I mean, just because it's available doesn't mean every kid's going to take it.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah. How many kids between over 21 do you think not drinking beer or drinking booze?
True. That's been going on since the beginning of
And
time.
that's not good for your brain either. Let's face it, none of that stuff is good for your brain because it all affects it. So,
I'm actually reaching out
yeah.
to Miranda.
Oh, no. I think
Right
you're
now.
right. I think you're right. I think I heard her say 25.
I think it is. I think
Yeah.
so too, but
Well,
I want to. I don't want to put words in Miranda's mouth and not say the right thing. So
yeah.
I just reached out to her to
Yeah.
see if we can get her to call in for a minute and just double check that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I think that's if we're going to put out information, we got to make sure we put out the correct information. So
well, it's going to be interesting to see how people feel. I mean, it's not guns, so
huh?
it's not a gun.
That's right. So 3 people will show up.
I've never seen the gun one. It's like, holy crap.
I've never seen any. I've never. I think this is what you're just saying. I've never seen the amount
Never.
of people turn out for anything in this town other than the gun laws.
No, it's yeah.
Serious. I mean, it's
I know it.
all gun
Oh
laws.
my God, there was. Yeah.
Um.
Oh man.
So maybe they're going to shoot cannabis plants. I don't know. So Miranda said she's going to call in. So I'm just waiting for the phone to ring here.
It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight.
Yeah.
How many, I don't know. I don't know who would be against it. I'm sure there is certain people that are against it that, probably smoked it and then,
Yeah.
Yeah, I smoked it, but I never inhaled.
I mean, I unfortunately won't be able to attend because I have taken on a fall ball baseball team, and I'm coaching a team.
Oh,
so we have practice tonight. So, unfortunately, I'll be spending my time with kids instead of worrying about this right now. So, which is fun for me, and I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We were going to have practice last week, but our first one, but it rained. It's been doing nothing but raining.
Yeah.
I hate rain. And it always seems to rain right when you need to do something. And I know that could happen anytime, but maybe I just plan too much stuff.
Yeah. No.
Did you ever coach?
No.
You never coached? Because you were always at ball games.
I know, but I never coached.
No.
I don't know all the rules. And
I'm learning them.
I mean, going to all the basketball games I've gone to over the last 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Could you coach that?
No, I may be able to. I know. I mean, of course, the rules are different when you go into pros. So, I mean, I watch a lot of UConn games too. So, I have some information on basketball.
So when you go to the game, do you guys pass a doob? Here.
No.
So were you a marijuana smoker? No.
Didn't say. I mean, I did drink.
Okay, sure. But you notice how accepted that is?
Yeah.
And for some reason, marijuana is not.
Yeah. Was it around back then? It certainly was.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. Are you kidding me?
It's been around for how many years? I've been around for years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think was in those peace pipes the Indians smoked? It was weed.
Buffalo poo. Yeah, of course. It's been around for years and since the beginning of time. And so I'm not sure. And this is why talking to Miranda is so helpful, because she said she just called. Huh.
Unplugged.
I don't know. Let's see.
What's
I
that?
think so.
Really? She got the right number?
Huh? Of course she does.
The thing is definitely not going on.
Yeah.
Nope. Uh-oh.
Did something happen there?
I don't know. I don't see a light.
Let's see here. Nope.
There's a dial tone.
There's a dial tone yet, so something's working.
Maybe does she have the right number?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Oh well. Let your fingers do the walking.
So you know what? Let me. I'm gonna.
Let's try it. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna see here. Yeah, I'm sending her a message. Because for some reason, I guess the phone's not Oh, there we go. Hold on. Miranda?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
It rang all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, the red light goes. So, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. We were having a pretty serious discussion this morning
Okay.
about planning and zoning, and they are having a special meeting tonight, or town meeting
Yep.
about cannabis.
Yeah.
And a possible moratorium
Correct.
on cannabis establishments. Now, is this something that you're going to be attending, or?
Yep. I will be attending. I'll be providing any information on what we've seen with youth marijuana use.
Yep.
Some risk factors that are that would bring to our community if we had a retail establishment in town, and what that would mean to youth, underage youth use and access.
That's basically what Paul and I were talking about this morning was the youth access.
Right. So if we refuse to have it in Griswold, and they put one in Lisbon, what's the difference?
Well, the difference would be there's access, but there's also their perception of harm. So with the perception of harm, you're looking at billboard advertising or other things like that. So if they're seeing it in their everyday travels and they're seeing signs and advertisements, it's kind of normalizing that this is okay, just as like alcohol or anything like that. So that definitely affects their perception of harm of the substance, which affects the use rate. So access is one piece to it, but also the perception of harm is another risk factor that would go in line with retail establishments within your community or neighborhood.
Okay. On the phone with us, we have Miranda Mahoney. She is what is your proper title? Are you director or?
I'm the coordinator for the Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition here in town, Griswold Pride, and I work for Community Health Resources.
Okay.
Presidente.
El Presidente. So one of the things is that we were talking about, it's like, so what's the difference between having a cannabis establishment and a liquor store, multiple liquor stores?
Correct. I mean, we have, 4 or 5 retailers in town for alcohol. And, moving forward with now that marijuana is legalized, it's definitely a possibility. This moratorium is really looking at just putting a pause break. They're not saying they're not making a decision tonight on yes or no at all. They're just saying, let's put a pause button on this. Let's figure it out. Let's collect the data that we want to collect and do our job, and like really take a good look at it and have the proper tools in hand before we make a decision whether we do or don't want to have retail establishments in town. So it's not that it's going to happen. It's just that we're going to put a pause button on this, look at how the state's going to roll out this whole program, because there's still a lot of questions on that as well.
So I guess my question is, why are we doing a moratorium when you can't have one in town until 2022 anyway?
Because people can, once the state issues the plan, they can start applying for licenses. So they want to have the moratorium in place to prevent that. So we're not getting, nobody's getting ahead, so nobody's getting in, no business is getting in before there's an actual decision, I guess.
That's kind of what I said, Paul. So that way nobody can do anything and everything is kind of like frozen.
It's just a pause button. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So if Lisbon doesn't have one, or Canterbury or Plainfield doesn't have one, then they're going to get it. If somebody wants
See,
to
Miranda, what Paul's concerned about is that if there's a pause button here, and next thing you know, there's not an establishment that opens until say 2023 or even later, but then Lisbon or Plainfield, they don't put a moratorium out and they're already open. So I mean, what's going to stop like somebody from going to one of those locations?
Well, it doesn't mean that Griswold can't have. I don't know. I guess you're a pro for this, which is okay. I'm just saying.
No. It's not that at all. It's just for example, the whole reason why I called is because I couldn't remember if you said 21 or 25. It was the age that people's kids' brains are still developing.
20. They develop until they're 25 years old.
All right.
Yeah,
that's why that was the whole reason. And honestly, it's not a matter of being pro or con. I just want to make sure that people understand. And I know if anybody's going to help people understand, it's going to be you.
Yeah. And then, like I said, it's not the decision tonight is just a moratorium. It's not whether Griswold will or won't. And, Jewett City's already had a special meeting to discuss this with their lawyers. So the borough understands their place in this.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's just, let's put the pause button and collect the data and see how the state's going to roll this out. As they do, the towns that do choose to have one, they could choose to have one and doesn't mean a business will come there either. Right. But they would get a 3%, tax return on the money, the profits of the place, but it can only be used for certain items or certain programs in town, which includes pension or JRBs, maybe some neighborhood beautification of where the establishment would be. But if you look at the other states that have already legalized for years now in Colorado and other states, the majority of the towns or counties out there, as they call them, the majority have bans in place. So many, many towns choose to go this route. I know in Connecticut already, many towns have already implemented the moratorium just to put the pause button on it. Preston is, I think, looking at that. As far as Eastern Connecticut, Preston has already had the special meetings on the moratorium. I'm not sure what their decision has been. But, we wouldn't be alone in this if we did move forward with it.
I didn't think we would be, but I just hadn't heard anything from any other town. This is why I call you.
Well, thanks.
So let me drop a comment your way from Cindy. She says, my personal thought, when you drink, you're only affecting yourself. Smoking tends to affect others around you. Personally, gives me a headache when I smell it. Everyone is different.
Yeah. But it's more than smoking.
Right. So with this right here, you can't get a contact high from drinking a mango tango at Brewitt City.
Correct. But everybody associates marijuana with smoking, but that's not what people are doing. There may be some people smoke it. Most of it's the edibles that people are doing. That's what the thing is.
Yeah. And there will be, I know the town has already looked at updating their policies and their ordinances as far as, no smoking in public parks or town buildings and whatnot. And they're going to be adding the marijuana to that. And I don't believe, I know, if you have a certain population with this, as per their state, if you're over a certain population, you have to make public spots or public spaces for marijuana use. But we don't reach that, or we don't reach that minimum, so we do not have to designate a public smoking spot per se. But some big cities actually have to designate a public spot for that.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I didn't know
But
that.
yes, I'm glad you brought up the edibles, and I talked about this last week. That is our number one priority as far as youth marijuana use, is just preventing the social access of this, where kids, or accidental poisonings, because DCF has already reported to us that they've seen many, many accidental poisonings or consumptions of edible products from children.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our number one thing. We're going to try to be handing out locking storage containers for your marijuana products that are odor-free as well. So we've got grants out there right now, and we're hoping to get them so we can start purchasing these products and handing them out to families so they can store their products safely at home.
That's exactly what Paul and I were talking about before you joined us, was making sure that people did lock things up.
Yeah. That's the most important.
Yeah.
We've made inroads with, prescription pills and creating that awareness, like lock up your meds. But this is now, our priority this year is locking up your marijuana products.
I mean, it's not to compare it, but with the new gun laws now, you have to have a lockbox.
Mm-hmm.
And if a kid gets a hold of it, the parent is responsible for anything happening with that weapon. This is going to be no different now with this marijuana stuff, because kid gets a hold of an edible and something happens to him, it's the parent's responsibility.
Correct. DCF will get a phone call.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Why? I guess one of the questions that I had that I never really understood. If you're going to make edibles, that's one thing, but why make them into gummies where it's going to be almost like sexy for kids? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, gummies, this is great. Or whatever.
Yeah, well,
why would they do
that concept is nothing new. Just think about the 80s with the candy cigarettes and everything else we had, So they know what they're doing. Yeah, they know what they're doing. Big tobacco, big marijuana, they know what they're doing. They're making money.
Yeah. It's no different than putting flavors in those electronic smokes.
Oh, correct.
Same
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing. Donna says, great information and great conversation with Miranda. You have fans. You have fans, Miranda.
Yeah. We had no followers.
I'm sure I have a lot of enemies when it comes to marijuana as well.
No, not at all. I mean, certainly not us. I mean, we were just having a discussion, and we didn't. That's why we brought you into it. Because I was going to talk out my ass and not know what the hell I'm saying. I listen to you all the time, and I know I thought it was 25, but then I looked at Paul and said, I got to call Miranda. I got to find out. The only one that's going to know is her.
Yeah, of course, everybody's assuming that everybody's going to smoke or take marijuana edibles. Everybody doesn't drink, so it doesn't mean that. Once this thing comes into town, we're going to have a town that's full of a bunch of potheads. Well, that ain't necessarily going to be true.
Well, one thing I did.
No, definitely not. Yeah. And like you said, people, whether it's in town or whether it's the town over, people are going to get their products where they want to. But I think for, as far as prevention goes, the harm, the perception of harm for youth, I think would drastically decrease. So meaning they're not going to think marijuana is harmful. They already don't. Like when we look at our school survey data, we look at vaping, we look at all the different substances, alcohol, smoking, marijuana, prescription drugs and all that. And we ask them, how harmful do you think this is? I can tell you that they think marijuana is the least harmful out of all of the substances. So they already have that low perception of harm. And by bringing in a retail establishment, I know like they can still get it. Their parents or whoever will still have it because it's still available. But you do increase, their exposure to the advertising and everything else. And as we've seen with big tobacco, that plays a role in youth substance use. So, the perception of harm would go down if we had a retail establishment in town.
Yeah. Hey, either they're going to grandma's house and, hey, grandma, what are you doing there? I'm just having an edible. It helps my pain. Oh, is that nice?
Grandma, is that a milk dud? Doesn't look like a milk dud.
I mean, we know that's happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it is a medical, prescribed product as well. So we're not at Griswold Pride, we're not prohibitionists, but, if something is legalized, use it responsibly as an adult. You can use it responsibly. Yeah. But just know that, kids are watching as well. So,
Miranda, one of the things that we had talked about too is again, perception. See, and one of the things that happened with me when I grew up, and I'm pretty sure I told you, my mother smoked it a lot, but she smoked it at night when she came home from work because she had back pain from a back-breaking job. And she was like, just to calm her anxiety. My mother never did it. She wasn't like a wake and bake person or anything like that. She did it only, like when she got home from work. So she used it a lot, just like they would today as far as, for medicinal purposes. So that's my perception of it. That's always been my perception of it. However, when I see, I don't like the smell of it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't like the smell of it. So, but I never got that from my mother.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Miranda?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
I honestly think it's not necessarily the smoking; it's the edibles that are going to be the issue. Because I don't think a lot of kids.
Right.
I don't think a lot of kids want to smoke. You know, I don't think they're into smoking. I think they've already learned that it's not good for you.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So it's the edibles.
The other thing is, vaping marijuana is a big thing as well.
Really?
Because it's easy. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. It has higher levels of THC, but it also, there's the odor that is associated with smoking marijuana. When you vape it, the odor lasts only a few seconds and it's gone. It's dissipated. So that is very popular as well among adults and youth.
God, I as much as I think I know, I find out. What the hell was that?
I don't know.
I find out how much I don't know. So, but I do really appreciate you coming on, especially on a drop of a hat this morning.
No problem. I was been popular. I've already attended a meeting at the school this morning, talked with our Jewett City Fire Chief, and now I'm on the phone with you. It's been popular this morning. It's a pretty productive day. It's not even 9 o'clock.
Yeah, a little bit after, but still, that is awesome. But you know what? I mean, you're filled with information, and it's solid stuff that we needs to get out there. Whether they agree with me or Paul or you or anything like that, the only thing we can do is get the information out there, and then people can make the decision.
That's my whole job. I'm not here to say yes or no, ban this or that. I'm here to provide the information so people can make their own educated opinions on stuff. But hopefully we bring awareness to the issues and the risk factors and the protective factors as well. There's good and bad. So I'm here. That's what I'm here. A hub of information for the community.
And yeah, Paul, I agree with you personally. I think the problem's more with the edibles. Yeah. More than smoking.
Yeah, because a lot of kids don't smoke, do they?
I don't get the gummies. I don't get the gummies thing. I just think that, and Miranda, you're right. I mean, big tobacco, big marijuana, they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I used to eat those little candy cigarettes when I was a kid.
We all did.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
I remember smoking those. It even came in a freaking box that looked like
a
pack of Lucky Strikes.
Or Chesterfields or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and then they had the candy gum cigarettes, and if you blew on them, they had the powder in there to blow out, so it looked like smoke. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And I didn't know. I just thought it was because my mother smoked cigarettes, and I'm like 8, and I'm like, hey, Mom, look at me. Yeah. And they were yummy too.
Yeah. So
cigarettes aren't that yummy though.
Well,
I smoke, but they're not yummy.
I mean, pointing out what's wrong is definitely the right thing to do. But I think eventually what's going to happen is it'll be here. 5 years down the road, you won't even be talking about it because there'll be a store on the corner you can go buy it, just like a liquor store. It's going to happen.
True. Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, but it all comes down to responsibility.
Correct. And I mean, where we're at right now, so the way the state's rolling this out, if Griswold chooses to have an establishment in town, there's only the way our population is, we can only have one retail and one grow. So there wouldn't be a pot shop on every street corner per se, as of the way it is right now. That doesn't mean that the state won't change those in the future.
Sure.
So, I think there's multiple layers to this. The moratorium is one good way to just hit the pause button and kind of figure out, how the state's going to roll it out. But then say Griswold does choose to, we would welcome an establishment. Well, you got to think about the location of that establishment. And then you also got to think about how many establishments are we willing to have in town? We have a limit on alcohol retailers in town on the package stores. How many licenses would we want in town? So that's another thing. So if we go that route, then there's multiple layers to this to think about in the future.
Exactly. Miranda, thank you very much for coming on first thing again and at the drop of a flipping hat. So we really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, as questions come up, I'll text you because I really don't. I honestly don't know the answers. I really don't. You know, I mean, it's no matter what I read, you know, like on Griswold Pride or Matt's Mission or CIRAC or anything, it always comes up something that's like, wait a minute, I got to call Miranda.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Miranda. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
You
Yep.
too.
You too.
Bye.
All right. That was Miranda Mahoney from Griswold, the coordinator from Griswold Pride. Always excellent information from Miranda.
Yep.
Always. And she's straight up. Straight up. And this, you know, this is the way that it is. And this is what we're doing. And you don't ever hear her putting anybody down or anything down. She just presents straight facts.
Yeah. Well, at least you clarify a little more on the moratorium. So,
Yeah.
go.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back in a minute. We're going to break for news and keep it right here. It is Monday morning. It's SNSN.
This is Alan Gear. You may know me as Mr. Jewett City. I want to tell you about my experience with our local eye doctor, Dr. Joel Zuckerbrun. I recently had cataract surgery, and I was told that I needed new glasses. I didn't know what to do because the problem was this was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Where the heck was I going to get glasses? I checked places that make glasses. I looked online, and what I found was my solution was practically in my own backyard. So I called Dr. Z, as most people know him. His office is right on North Main Street, right here in the borough of Jewett City. I went to my appointment and had my glasses faster than I would have thought possible. Called Dr. Zuckerbrun at 376-2848. I trust Dr. Z with my eyesight, and you should too. Make an appointment today.
You buy better. Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Hurricane season is upon us. Did you know insurance companies can issue moratoriums that prevent you from securing coverage when there's an impending storm? Homeowners, business owners, property owners, act now. Don't let your coverage leave you out in the rain. The licensed professionals at the Burns Agency are here to help. Call, email, or chat with us online today. Don't let the next natural disaster become an insurance disaster. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Better. Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Reliable plumbing and heating services are just a phone call away when you contact the professionals at McGuire Plumbing and Heating in Fallontown. Family owned for more than 35 years, McGuire Plumbing and Heating has earned a reputation by providing accurate quotes and being open and honest when on the job, plus giving honest advice that may be needed down the road but isn't an immediate concern today. Find McGuire Plumbing and Heating on Facebook or call 860-376-3388. Look for the big truck with the little Irish fella. McGuire Plumbing and Heating, proud sponsor of Griswold Youth Football.
Family owned and operated. That's something you don't hear too often anymore. Highway Campers of Plainfield is now 3 generations in and going strong. If you're looking to upgrade or get your first RV, contact the family that knows RVs, Highway Campers. They'll walk you through the process of finding the right RV for you and can even finance it for you. Visit www.highwaycampers.com and find your home on wheels. After all, home is where you park it. Highway Campers is a proud supporter of Griswold Youth Football.
Hello, I'm Miranda Mahoney, Project Coordinator of Griswold Pride, your drug-free community coalition. We want to help you keep your kids safe during this challenging time. Social distancing is still in effect, and so is the social host law. Reports are coming in that teens are contracting the virus at underage drinking parties. Parents, allowing underage drinking on your property could land you in jail for up to a year, plus fines. Another reason why you should not provide alcohol to our youth. For more info, go to griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org.
Network. With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The U.S. says it's monitoring the situation very closely, while Japan says it is seriously concerned. In a military breakthrough, North Korea reports a weekend test firing of a new long-range cruise missile. Afghanistan will top the agenda, with Secretary of State Blinken scheduled to testify today before the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Tomorrow, Blinken has a date with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Committees in both houses of Congress vowing to launch an aggressive investigation of the situation in Afghanistan. Senator Joe Manchin once again urging what he calls a strategic pause in consideration of President Biden's proposed $3.5 trillion spending bill. Stock futures are higher on Wall Street this morning. Dow futures up 200 points. Nasdaq futures ahead 78. More details at srnnews.com.
This is a news update from the Streaming News and Sports Programming Network, SNSN. The Griswold Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing tonight at 6 p.m. at the Griswold High School Auditorium to consider a temporary moratorium on cannabis establishments in the town of Griswold. A moratorium is a temporary suspension of an activity or a law until future consideration warrants lifting the suspension. In other words, Planning and Zoning is going to discuss tonight the temporary suspension of Connecticut general statutes on cannabis establishments in Griswold. In other town meeting news, the Griswold Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday has been canceled. Plainfield does have a Board of Selectmen meeting tonight at 7 p.m. at Plainfield Town Hall, and no meetings are scheduled tonight in the town of Lisbon. Couple of notices we'd like to pass along from Griswold Middle School. The GMS Picture Day has been rescheduled until Thursday, October 28th. So you want to go ahead and note your calendar of that change. Here are some town of Lisbon notes. The road closure in Lisbon on Bundy Hill Road has been reopened to one lane and will probably remain that way through the winter, since the town won't be able to get the permits to complete the project. It should be completed spring, summer of 2022. The town of Lisbon also has scheduled a referendum vote for the 22nd of this month. The vote will decide if the town of Lisbon will spend $13 million on a new firehouse that will be on town-owned property. Here's some high school sports scores from over the weekend in volleyball. Griswold defeated Killingly 3-0. Sonia Matheson had 11 kills and 7 aces. Caitlin Basecchia, 6 kills, 6 aces. Greta Dumkowski had 10 assists and 4 aces. And Caitlin Fasula had 9 assists and 1 ace. Griswold is now 1-0 on the year. In high school football, Griswold had a tough game at Ledyard High School, losing by the score of 50-6. Starting quarterback Luke Cassidy was actually taken out on a stretcher and taken to the hospital with a neck injury. However, he is okay and did go home, although a little bit sore. Other games around the ECC, Plainfield shut out Bacon by the score of 20-0. That machine known as Killingly defeated Waterford 42-14. East Lyme defeated Montville 41-18, and Fitch defeated Stonington 13-7.
And good morning. Welcome back to the show. It's 9:32. Just a programming note for tomorrow. We will be joined by the brand new president and CEO of the Jewett City Savings Bank, Michael Alberts. He'll be in tomorrow. So blood's not even cold on Kevin Merchant. We already got we got new daddy coming in.
New daddy. You better treat him nice.
No. I wonder how I haven't talked to Kevin in a few days.
He don't want to talk to you.
Well,
he's off doing his own thing.
God bless him, though, man. I've said it before. If there's one guy that deserves retirement, it's that guy. I can't remember. I just even like 2 years ago and before COVID, and he was at some sort of function every single night, sometimes more than one.
Yeah,
with chambers and different. He was unbelievably active in the community. Unbelievably active.
Yeah.
So
it takes a lot to get used to.
Whew.
You gotta get used to doing it. He's not doing nothing.
Mhm.
I'm sure he'll find something to do.
So I did have a meeting with Mr. Alberts a few days ago, and we talked, about what the direction of the bank, and it sounds like they're going to continue in the same direction.
Oh,
that was led by Mr. Merchant. So, which is a good thing. So, but we'll hear from Mike Alberts tomorrow morning when he joins us at about 8:30. Right here on SNSN. All right, time to take a look at the weather forecast. Here he is, Paul Ash.
Good morning, everybody. Right now, the temperature downtown Jude City now is up to 72 degrees. Be lots of sunshine around today. Highs will be around 80 degrees. Little wind, maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour. But tonight, mostly clear skies. This evening, will give way to some cloudy skies overnight. Lows around 57. And of course, for your Tuesday, it's going to be it changed a little bit. It's going to be sunshine and clouds mixed, high around 75 degrees. And of course, for Tuesday evening, overcast. Could be a slight chance of shower around and thunderstorms possible during the evening. Lows around 64. And that's your weather from SNSN on this Monday, 09/13/2021.
The home of Griswold Wolverine Sports, SNSN.
Okay. So we had a really good conversation with Miranda Mahoney.
Yeah.
She she called in, talking about the moratorium that they're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Now, when I say that we're going to talk about it, that's what they're going to do. They're going to discuss it. It's not something that is set in stone, but this is something that if you are concerned with as a resident in the town of Griswold, well, show up.
Yeah.
Show up at the Griswold High School auditorium tonight at 6:00.
Yeah. But again, it's a moratorium. It doesn't mean yes or no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, if you missed our conversation with Miranda Mahoney from Griswold Pride a few minutes ago, after this broadcast is done, you can go back and you can review it and you can listen to what Miranda had to say about the subject. And we talked about a lot. I mean, she's a rock star. I mean, she came on a moment's notice via the phone. We talked about the possible moratorium. We talked about edibles, the availability of how many licenses you can get per town. She's absolutely she's got so much knowledge about drugs and drug enforcement and that kind of stuff. So drug prevention. So we are very, very pleased and thankful that Miranda is around here in the town of Griswold. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource.
I think also we need to make it clear that we are either for or against. It's just I'm kind of neutral on it. I mean, I don't care what they do. So I just don't people think that because what we're saying is that we're for it. It's just that.
No, I mean, and my personal view and your personal view really doesn't mean squat on here. I mean, this is we want to get your opinion and your thoughts, and really just for conversation's sake, because you may say something. I'm talking about you folks that are listening right now. Yeah, you that you may say something, and you may type something into the room or call us and make a comment that changes somebody else's perception or gives them food for thought, or may make them say, wait a minute, this is what I think. And that's why we do what we do here in the morning. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah. I think she made it. I think the one thing that she certainly clarified was what the moratorium was about, which was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just putting a notice out there saying we're talking about voting on a moratorium. That was not good enough. She explained it real well.
Yeah. And like I said before, if you did miss the conversation with Miranda, you can certainly go ahead and review it after the show is done this morning. It does remain online, whether it's on our Facebook pages or the SNSN Radio YouTube page. So here's something else that is coming up that is pretty exciting. At least I think it's exciting. Our website is actually, if you go to snsnonline.com, it says under construction.
Oh,
But then again, Paul, you knew that because
I knew that.
you check every hour. You're checking.
I knew it was under construction.
But it's being all changed over. It's going to be a lot more interactive and a lot more fun and a lot more sexy than it was before. Sexy.
Oh boy.
It's going to be. And matter of fact, the domain is even going to change. See, when I first started this, the domain that I wanted wasn't available. So somebody dumped it. So it's now. So now you'll be able to go to snsnradio.com, which is for branding purposes. That's exactly what I wanted, but I couldn't get it 5 years ago because somebody else had it. So there you go. So as soon as I saw that it was available, boom, I bought the domain.
Yeah, I have a domain.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Is it paullash.com?
No, it's lashfamily.com.
Oh, you know what? I think you told me that before.
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything with it, or?
I had a webpage once a long time ago, and I never finished it. But yeah, I just kept the domain. I had some guy over in Germany who wanted to buy it from me. I would sell
Oh yeah, how much did he offer you?
nothing. They just wanted me to give it up to him.
Why? Was he a Lash family?
I don't know
member?
who he was. I wouldn't give it up.
So thank you, Donna, for your participation as well as your comment. This is great show today and every day.
Yeah.
So we do. We try to put out community information in the morning is the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Laura just said having a civil conversation or discussion is important. It's important for people to be able to do that, especially on tough topics and sensitive issues. Now, if people wonder why I'm reading them, because people that are in the Facebook room or YouTube or wherever they're viewing it online can read that, but the people on the app they can't see it. So, and Laura says, thank you for being non-judgmental. Well, of course, you are most welcome. But we, like I said, our personal feeling on something in this type of platform is really irrelevant.
Right.
What's important is you guys, the resident, and how you want to go ahead and express yourself. Because some people won't go to a meeting.
No.
They won't nothing.
Right.
But they may listen to this. And that may drive them to go to a meeting.
Right.
It may drive them to the polls to make a voting decision, which is the most important thing you can do as an American, I think, is vote. Because God knows that might be going away sometime.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to find out how much discussion is at tonight's meeting.
Yeah. And well, it starts at 6 p.m. and it's at the Griswold High School. Now, not the middle school. So just want to be clear. It's at the high school auditorium.
And I think you have to wear a mask too.
Yeah. Matter of fact, anywhere you go
In school, yeah.
Yeah, on any school grounds.
You have to wear a mask.
In any school buildings, I should say.
Right.
You have to wear a mask.
Right.
So anyway, so all right, so that's gonna let's call it quits for today. Quitski.
Okay.
That's the Polish version.
Okay.
Tomorrow, we will have, like I said, Mike Alberts from the Jewett City Savings Bank, the new president and CEO of the 7-branch establishment, who is heading up the organization that has been a wonderful supporter of SNSN/Wolverine Radio when we first started, and they continue to do so. So Mike will be here tomorrow morning, along with Rich Wasilek, who's going to be joining us, I guess, on Tuesdays now.
Oh.
So Rich will be here on Tuesday, tomorrow morning as well.
Chair.
Huh?
Can't use my chair.
You won't even know. You won't even know if Rich uses your chair. You're not even going to know. Unless you watch, then you'll decide whether or not he used it. Then you can call in and bitch. Walter. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in today. We will see you, I don't know, tomorrow morning once again. And like I said, with our normal cast of characters right here on SNSN, which stands for the Streaming News and Sports Network.
Don't just wish for a winning deal. Make it Dish. It will make it real. Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
Hey everyone, this is Ellis Dish from Dish Motors. We're back better than ever with our new sales and service center on Route 32 in North Franklin. Everyone says there's nothing better than dealing with the dishes, and here's why. Selection. We have the area's largest inventory of off-lease, one-owner vehicles of all makes and models. You name it, we got it, or I'll get it for you at no additional charge. Quality. Each vehicle goes through a rigorous 120-point safety and quality check. Nothing leaves the lot without my personal approval. Convenience. We have financing sources for almost any situation. We offer on-site registration processing and with maintenance programs for years of stress-free ownership. And now open for all your maintenance needs. Our full-service repair facility where oil changes start at just $19.99. Call today for your appointment or just stop by. So save thousands and deal with the dishes. Route 32, North Franklin. Or check us out online at dishfranklin.com or ring us 860-383-4750.
Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
The home of Griswold Wolverine Sports, SNSN.